Hey Sandy, do you want to do a sound check?
Okay. Can you hear me, Randa?
I can hear you, yeah.
Can you see my screen? I have the PowerPoint up.
I can see your screen, yes.
All right. Thank you. Hey, Randa,
Yes.
I have another question. When I put my
hmm
cursor on the PowerPoint, can you see it?
Is your cursor on the PowerPoint now?
It is. You see it right there?
Oh, I
Mm.
do. It's very small though.
All right. I don't know how to make it bigger. So anyway, I'm going to use it to point out a few things on these slides. So, all right. Hopefully people can see it.
Bill, do you want to do a sound check?
Testing, testing.
I can hear you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have Sandy Dawes, who will be presenting on the direct certification matching at the state level and our Medicaid demonstration project. A few housekeeping reminders: all participants are muted, but if you have questions, you can use the chat. It should be at the top of your screen in a little bubble with the word chat underneath it. I see some folks are using it to talk about sound now. This meeting is being recorded and it will be posted to YouTube hopefully within a week. It's a little out of our control what that timeline is, but we will get that done as soon as possible. And before Sandy starts her training, Bill wants to go over a few things. So, Bill.
Thanks, Randa. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you had a good trip back from the ANC in Denver. If you went, I saw several of you there, had good conversations with many of you as well. So hope that you made it back from Denver safe and sound. Today, big, huge project that we've been working on here at the state for a while now. Obviously, our Medicaid demonstration project and our direct certification that's as a result of that. Two real reasons we're doing this. Number one, to innovate. Obviously, we want to do things and do them better than we ever have. So that is the impetus of this, is to innovate the state agency and help you do your job better. So state level DC matching, obviously, we feel like that would take burden off of you at the local level. This is not going to be something that out of the gate day one is going to look crystal clear and be flawless in what we do and how we do it. There is a steep learning curve here, but we've been doing a lot of work over the past several months to come out of the gate in a strong fashion, and hopefully won't need a whole lot of refinement, but you know how that goes when you're implementing a new project. And the other reason is to expand the number of identified DC students in your districts. So when I talk to other state level directors who've already done this process in previous years, I hear things like, we got a 10% increase in the directly certified students, we got a 15% increase, we got a 5% increase. So I think obviously the jury is still out on what that percentage increase is. Will be for you and will be statewide, but we're hopeful that it will increase the number of directly certified students that we find as a result of this process. And what that ultimately means is additional funding for you at the local level. So this will not impact the 23-24 school year, because those funding amounts are already set, but this will impact 24-25. The good part is, and Dr. Dawes will share this with you, this is not something that we have to just immediately get right. We're going to try that with everything that we have, every fiber in our being, but there is nothing contingent over the next couple of months that will sink or swim us as far as funding goes in the immediate future. We're looking forward not to this coming school year, but to the next school year, and to ramp up that funding as a result of additional kids that we find and that we match. That is the ultimate benefit here, and making sure that students and kids receive those benefits as a result of that identification. So I want to acknowledge the job that Dr. Dawes has done over the past several months, and obviously Catherine Horton, who's also on this call. She is our IT lead in on the nutrition state team. She is involved deeply in this project. You can imagine, with multiple state entities working on this and multiple point of contact vendors working on this, that it is like herding cats. So we have done a pretty good job herding those cats, but the two main players there have been Dr. Sandy Dawes and Catherine Horton. So I want to acknowledge your work and thank you for what you've done. That's about all I've got. Take a big deep breath and realize that this thing is going to be recorded. Also realize that we're going to have some office hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays over the next couple of weeks. She'll be sure to talk to you about that and give you a little bit more details on the time and all of that good stuff. But we want to support you in this process. So if you're an operator out there and you feel like you don't know what to do after this call or over the next coming weeks, obviously reach out to Dr. Dawes or the state agency, and we will do everything in our power to raise your comfort level and get you to a point and a place where you feel like this is something that you can do and that it is benefiting your district. Dr. Dawes, we appreciate you. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So for you that may not know who I am Sandy Dawes. I'm the compliance director for TDOE School Nutrition Programs, and I'm the project lead for the Medicaid Demonstration Project. On the call today, besides Bill and Randa, who are unmuted, is Catherine Horton. As Bill said, Catherine is our IT support person for this DC state match, it process in TMAC and the Medicaid Demonstration Project. So, Catherine, I'm not sure if you want to come off mute and introduce yourself.
Sure, Sandy. Thank you. So I'm Catherine Horton and I work for the IT department. And I'm here to support any IT related questions or things technical from a technical standpoint that you may have. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Catherine.
Uh-huh.
This is the TDOE Best for All strategic plan, and school nutrition resides in the student readiness, where our role is to meet the non-academic needs of all students, which everyone knows is to feed the kids out there. Our mission statement for school nutrition is to develop extraordinary school nutrition professionals and provide strategies to increase the consumption of healthy meals. So the objectives for today's training is to provide a quick background on the Medicaid project, share the student enrollment file layout you will be expected to upload into TMAC, how you're going to access new direct serve module in TMAC, how you will be uploading the student enrollment files, some new direct cert matching features in TMAC, such as viewing additional matches and extended eligibility, and how you will be exporting the DC matches to import into your system. And finally, I will give just a brief description for removing a student record. So let's get started. Tennessee Department of Education's application to participate in 23-24 Medicaid demonstration project was approved January 2023. This project provides opportunities for districts to directly certify additional students for free meals that meet eligibility requirements that are not already directly certified through other means-tested programs such as SNAP. Medicaid will also be used to directly certify students for reduced meals. Medicaid free should be coded in your system and can be included when figuring your ISP for CEP or for district funding purposes. Medicaid reduced cannot be included or used for determining ISP for CEP. But Medicaid reduced does have to be conducted. The direct cert match has to be conducted for that, and they do have to be verified. Our new LEAP contract has a module that allows the state to conduct matches for Medicaid and all direct certification programs. We plan to go live with this process in TMAC the 1st of August. We understand this will be new, and like all new processes, there will be growing pains, but ultimately the purpose of the DC module in TMAC for state matching is to provide administrators, state agency users, and SFAs with efficient and immediate information to a state level data matching solution that will reduce the burden to you, the school nutrition supervisor, improve administrative workflow, increase the effectiveness of the data matching of eligible students statewide, and ultimately have a means-tested program matches in one file and automated in a way that for districts to possibly increase their DC numbers. So let's get started here again with this upload. The very first step that you're going to have to do at the district level, you're going to have an enrollment file ready to upload into TMAC to start the matching process. On the 6th of July, this file on your screen here, you see the layout was sent out via listserv. This file is the first step, as I said, to the state match process for all programs, SNAP, TANF, Medicaid, and foster. At the district level, at a minimum, monthly, you will be uploading the student enrollment file into TMAC. The better the data on the file, the smoother this process will work for everyone and will ensure that the state is capturing all the possible DC matches. You may need to get assistance with creating this file from your vendor or your SIS system person. Once you have the enrollment file, save it on your computer and for uploading into TMAC. Some vendors, and we have been in contact with many of the vendors being the Heartland, the Primero Edge, Titan, those folks, we have been in contact with many of those, letting them know this is getting ready to roll out. And some of them, I have been told, are already working with you on this processes. And some of them have said that it would not be that big of an issue because they already do this in many states. But it is very important that your vendor or local SIS vendors that uploads exported DC files in your system is aware and working with you to produce this enrollment file. So, you know what the enrollment file looks like. You've went through all those processes, which will be one of the biggest lifts out there for the district. You know what that file looks like. You've got it ready. You've got it saved to your computer. Now what? Just like you always do, you will log into TMAC. Once you log into TMAC from the application page, you will get your landing page. This is what your landing page looks like when you complete your application packet, when you do all kinds of different things. On this page, okay, there are several different options. If you scroll down to, or you look down towards the bottom, there's 2 direct cert. One said direct cert and verification as a description. The other one says direct cert, direct certification list, and individual student lookup. For the new direct state match, you will choose the bottom selection, the very last direct cert. The other direct cert will still be there for about 6 months. This is what we call the legacy system. And there you can do your traditional and your normal matching process. This one here, though, the legacy system will go away in about 6 months. So just be prepared to see that disappear on your landing page there. So once you have the direct cert clicked, you will see this page. Okay, we're on the direct cert module now. So when you click on the direct cert at the bottom of the other page, the other screen, you will get this page. In this page, using the drop down boxes, this says Craig County Public Schools, you will choose your SFA. You will only be able to choose your SFA. You will not be able to, like we do currently for statewide match, you will not be able to choose anything other than your own. And then you need to make sure that you're in the correct year. If you will notice this page, it has add individual students, student file upload, and administrative and reports. Administrative and reports are nothing to do with the local level. They are state agency tools that we will be using. So those two you will not be looking at or have anything on them of any use to you. Okay, so now you've got your site, you're chosen your year. Once you do this, your profile screen will display. From the profile screen, you can upload your student enrollment file. So to do this, you will click the student file upload button, okay? And once you have done this, this will be your landing page. From this page, you will choose the file button down here. You will click on your computer, the enrollment file you saved. You will click the upload button, okay? This will upload the records, your enrollment records for the state to match against the means tested programs, the SNAP, the TANF, the Medicaid, and the foster. Also, when you're looking here, be sure and I'm going to tell you, you can play around with this, guys, once it's available. You're not going to break it. You can't look at other people's system, and it's a live item. So once you upload these, you can, look at them more than once if you need to. Okay. So this will be what happens once you've uploaded your data into TMAC, and you will see this screen. This screen will give you a file name. It will show the first 10 records of kids that have been matched and are ready for you to export. It will give you a total records, like if you have 10,000, it'll tell you how many total records have been matched. It will also have additional things on there that you can see, like a few additional possible matches and view extended eligibility. These are a few things that I will go over with you later in the presentation. So, like I said on the other one, the pop-up screen will pop up. At this point, the file has been validated. The matches have occurred. You're ready to look at them, and if you want to save them, you save them and download and export into your system. If there are any issues with the student file upload, an error section displays. Errors are marked in red font and warnings are marked in blue font. If you notice there, some of the errors would be like the first name value is blank, record will be skipped. Sex type is not in the list or valid. Sex types are female, male, and other. It will tell you what is wrong with the file and the file row. Check the box at the bottom of the error page to continue with errors and warnings at the bottom of this page. This allows you to continue with your upload and remove the error rows. Again, you select save and add to your uploaded file, or select cancel to unload to return to the main screen. If you have a file that contains a large number of errors or warnings, and I'm not going to prescribe what large means, that could be up to your discretion, you may want to cancel the file and start all over, addressing the issues in your enrollment file before uploading, to just kind of save yourself on some extra work. If you proceed and save the file, at this point, the file has been validated. So you've done everything you need to do. The kids are in there. You've ignored the errors, and what you have in there has been validated. The pop-up screen displays the first 10 records in the uploaded file. The screen will display the student ID, the student's first name, the student's last name, date of birth, and eligibility type. Eligibility type will be generated by TMAC based on the hierarchy of program eligibility, being SNAP is the highest hierarchy and Medicaid reduced is the lowest on the hierarchy of the means tested programs. Acronyms are used for these eligibility types: SN for SNAP, TO for TANF, FO for foster, MF for Medicaid free, and MR for Medicaid reduced. You can click on the export button and map for matches to be downloaded and imported into your system. I'm going to say this repeatedly, so I'm sorry if you guys get tired of hearing it, but always remember, you must save all DC data at a minimum for 3 years plus your current. Okay, we're back to this SFA profile page. This is a very important page whenever you're doing this TMAC matching process. So the new TMAC DC module has some additional features you can use for conducting matches. Let's say you want to add an individual student. On the main SFA profile shown on the slide is Add Student button. Click on this blue button. So right here, and I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Randa said it was kind of small, but I'm kind of circling. You will click on that to add individual students. Now, let's say you're a really small SFA and you can't get this student enrollment file to Rock and Enroll and get it all ready. You could go in and add your students one by one here using this function. Okay. Once you have clicked on that button, you'll get this screen over here, Add Individual Student. You will complete the profile. You have to complete at least 3 of the items here, the data fields. The more you complete, the better the match. So I would recommend that you complete as many as you possibly can. And then once you do that, you just click on the Add Student button and magically it will do the match for you. And then you can export it to go into your system. You can do as many of these as you want and then export them all and look at them all at one time. So let's say you want to search for a student on your profile page. You will follow the same steps as you use for adding a student. And then when you put that in there, you will just use the student ID and the date of birth or enter all the information into the fields and hit the search button at the bottom of the page. You can view the student files you just added by selecting the View the Latest Upload Data button. The top 10 latest matches will appear. So let's say you added 75 kids. By clicking this button here, you could see all of those kids and their matches. If you want to look at additional possible matches, if you remember from the profile screen, you can upload your student enrollment file. Thing got off a little bit here, guys, so hold on for a second. Anyway, if you want to view additional matches on your profile screen, you're going to, there's a button there that says additional possible matches. Once you click on that, it's going to upload all of your possible matches that were in your system that match with kids in our SNAP and TANF and Medicaid files. You can push on that button, click on that button. It will pull up all those matches. You can look at those possible matches, and based on your information, you can validate those matches. If you think or believe that they are a match, to your system. It doesn't have to be 100% match. It can be a 70%, a 85%, whatever it may be. You can export those and then import those into your systems. A lot of your kids might go by, let's say, William as their name, but their actual name is Bill or something to that effect. Having a little technical difficulties here, guys. My screen is not wanting to play nice. Right. This here, guys, just shows you that what this will look like. This is your view additional matches down here on the bottom. If you also notice, you've got a icon down there that will, and Catherine's little thing is in my way, that will tell you to view extended matches as well. So that's another button that I'm going to explain to you in a minute that you can use, another item that you can use that is not only helpful, will probably be necessary as you go through this process and getting your direct certs through this. I'll leave this up here for just a second, guys, so you can kind of look at it. And this will be recorded. And when you're getting ready to start your matching, besides the office hours that we're going to be conducting, you might want to put this on one screen, have your TMAC open in another screen, and then kind of go through the process as you're doing this. Okay. So you got your additional matches, you clicked on it, you're ready. So let's say you pulled up you've put in your information, you've clicked on your additional matches, you want to see who they are. So when that happens, you do the additional matches, this screen will come up. On this screen, there's several features. First off, you click on the view matches right here in the red, and this will tell you all of the matches and the confidence level, the score, which is considered a confidence level for that match. You can click on the first name of this student, and you will get a screen that will show you the profile summary of that possible match. On this profile summary, you will know the student ID, and student ID is state student ID, and just make sure you're using that, no other ID. It'll give you their name, their sex, their date of birth, their residential areas, all of this information. Over here on your right-hand side, it will give you the match source. So is it SNAP, TANF, Medicaid? It'll give you the source name, the source sex, source date of birth, and the source address. So it'll tell you what, here, this is your student details. Over here is this name William, and our source file says their name is Bill. So if there are any differences, you would be able to see those in there and be able to verify these kids. It will tell you down here, if it checks the box, it's an exact match. And if it doesn't check the box, it is not an exact match. Once the match is certified, it moves to the complete direct certification list. Okay. This is not your list from your original. This is for just additional matches that you're looking for. So this is not the matches that happen just from you uploading your enrollment file. This is from you putting in other data and looking at these additional matches. So whenever you look at these additional matches, they will only populate 500 at a time. So you can't see more than 500 if you have more than 500. So once you look at one and you decide that, yes, that is a match and I'm validated it and I'm going to transfer it to the complete direct certification list, then it will add another one and it'll add another and add another one until all of the matches have been added and you have been able to preview any of those matches. Extended eligibility. So you can also do extended eligibility through this module. First step is on your page that I showed you earlier. I showed you those buttons that were at the bottom of the screen on a previous page. At the bottom of that screen, you will see a View Extended Eligibility Match button. You click on that button, and once you do, you will get the corresponding students that are associated with the household addresses on those previously matched from the original DC list. So just like you did for looking at additional matches, you will click on the View Matches. It will give you the first name, last name, address, so on and so forth. Then you can click on the first name of that student. When you do that, it will show you their profile. Once you look at their profile, you can decide if it's a match or it isn't a match. So this is the profile screen, just like before. This will be the profile screen when you look at that. And when you're done with looking at the profile screen for this, as well as the additional matches, you will close it. If the student is eligible, select the match box. And you will do that. That is your verification. Yeah, this kid is eligible based on these addresses and everything I know, as well as what you know here. And so you would do the match box. This will verify it, and this will go into the complete certification list. And that's what you do. So once you have done all of this and you've worked through all of your matches and you're ready to export your student file, you will select the export button. This export button is on your View Extended Matches Possible Matches pages. It's on your profile page. You can select this at multiple times. So do not be afraid to look at this and work with this thing and to view and do other things. Once you select this, it's going to get an Excel file in a different screen. So this Excel file, you can either just view it, look at it, and if you would like, or you can save the file to your computer. Just another reminder, all of this documentation that you use to directly certify any children out there in your systems must be saved for a minimum of 3 years plus the current. This was the export file layout that was sent out as well whenever the student enrollment file was sent. This file will be what you will get in a Excel file format. You need to work with your vendor or work with your system, whoever, and be able to automatically put this into your system to complete the match process. Now, you can do this manually, but a lot of these bigger districts and so on and so forth, that will not be the recommendation. And we'll leave that up there for just a second so you can look at it. So let's say you want to remove a student. So select the X icon whenever you are looking at all of those students for the extended eligibility and the additional matches. You're not going to want to remove a student that's on the original match that we did, that TDOE did at 100%. You might want to remove a match that comes back to you that it's a 70% match and you know that it's incorrect. You can remove that student by clicking on the X next to that student. So direct certified student, the source that it says it's from, then you just click the X and it will remove that match. A warning will pop up saying, are you sure you want to remove this record? Because once you remove this record, it is gone. And if you want to put it back, you will have to go all the way back through that process and add that student again. So this, again, this is your student profile display page. You have your add an individual student, your student file upload. You make sure you're on the right SFA. You make sure you're on the right year. You can, look at your matches. You can view additional matches. You can view extended eligibility, and your export is there. So the biggest majority of your items that you're going to be working with, you will be able to work with directly from your profile page. And once you click on the different things that you want to do, like a student file upload, add an individual student, you will get a pop-up screen. And once you get those pop-up screens, you follow those steps that it asks you to follow. So a quick recap, okay? You're going to obtain your student enrollment file. You're going to save it to your computer. You log into TMAC. You choose the direct certification item at the bottom of the page. On the profile page, choose to upload your student enrollment file. Get a exported Excel file of children that have been matched to download and import into your system. You can and should also view additional matches and then verify this is a match and download to input in your system as well as doing your extended eligibilities in the same fashion. So this is a lot. I know that, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of things that we're probably going to have to assist you with, because as Bill said, we've been working on this for months now, and it's taken us a while to learn the processes and everything. So Catherine Horton and I will be holding office hours from 1 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on July the 18th, 20th, 25th, and 27th. To answer any questions you may have about state matching or the Medicaid and means tested programs, we can help you with questions you might have about your file layouts and different stuff like that. We will be there if you want to have your vendor person join and ask us questions. We'll be there and happy to assist. We will also, this is not the only times we're available. I am always available and happy to answer any questions that I can. And if I can't answer, we will figure them out and get you an answer. So as I stated previously, guys, we plan to go live 1st of August. This means that the state match module will be available in TMAC for you to begin the process. This does not mean that if you are not ready, that, there's an issue. It will be there for when you are ready. We do recommend you start this as soon as possible because, like I said, we will maintain the legacy system in TMAC for about 6 months. So that means that you got about 6 months grace period to get this thing rocking and rolling. And then once that happens, we will be removing the legacy module from TMAC, and all that will be available will be the direct cert state match. So also, we're going to be working on a FAQ. In that, we're going to be, gathering the questions you guys have and answering those. And And once this thing, you know, goes live in August, we will start to distribute that out via our weekly updates. So that's all I have, folks. So here's my contact information. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, and thank you for your time today.
Hey, Randall, will you start at the top and start going through those questions, please?
Yep. I was just going to ask Sandy if she wanted me to read them out. So I will absolutely do that.
If you would, I would appreciate that.
Yep. So the first one was in regards to vendors that you've spoken to, and have you talked to Skyward?
No, I have not talked to Skyward. We did send, I received the vendor information list from all of the SFAs that supplied it. On that list, there was contact information such as your email address, and some had phones. Many of them were just help desk lines, but I did email every one of those, and any of them that did reach out, I did respond to them. Skyward was not one of the ones that has reached out to me or had any additional contact with.
The next question says, who at Link do we contact? Do we call customer support?
You will go through customer support. You will, and I learned this by working with one of the vendors with a different district. You will go through customer support. You will tell them what you're doing and put in a ticket, they call it, I believe, in customer support. And in that ticket, you say, hey, we're getting ready to start a state level matching, and we're going to need help with our student enrollment file and our export file that will be inputted into our systems. And we're happy to, when we have our office hours or even before, whenever, get on a call and help you with those communications if you need.
The next question says, will it hurt to do both in August? And I think this was in reference to doing the traditional match plus the new one.
Now, this is a great question because from my perspective, what I would do, you're not going to hurt. A match is a match. So it's not going to hurt the system. It's not going to hurt you. I would personally, because I know how important these matches are in the district, I would personally do both, and I would see the differences. Is our new state match module producing the same results or better results or worse results than our legacy system? So I highly recommend you do that.
Okay, the next question I think was in regards to when you said that it's not gonna, they weren't doing like statewide, they were just gonna do their county download, I think. And it said they're concerned because they always gain students from surrounding counties.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're going to give us your students. Your students are your students. You only have the students that are enrolled in your system. We at the state have the statewide match. That is what is going to be bumped up against your enrollment data. So you will be matched against the whole entire state. You just won't be able to see it.
Is there an option to export the list of errors, or will they have to stay on the portal and go through each one?
That I don't know. That's a good question. So if somebody will kind of, and Catherine might be able to answer that, I'm not sure, but
they have not shown us where we can export the errors. So far with the training that we've received, we've just been able to visualize those. But we will take that question back to the vendor and get you an answer. That's a good question.
This person said they contacted Link customer support to try to get them to help set up, and that it was basically thrown back to the SFA that they said Titan is already set up to receive imports and extracts from the state. They will need to configure the template and set up data mapping when the information is provided from the state. And there's a really long response. I'm not going to read it all, but do you have any kind of insight on that, Sandy?
Okay, I think what they're talking about there when they say that the export and import file is provided for by the state, Those are those file layouts that we sent out on the 6th of July. So you need to share those with that Titan contact, whoever that might be. I know they had some training. Titan is aware of this project. They know that we're doing it in Tennessee. They had a training. I don't know how relevant it is, but they had one explaining their processes for this. So what they're asking for at Titan is that enrollment file at layout, what they're going to need for it to look like if they help you with the enrollment file and the export file. And Randa, you're
Do they
muted.
need to add a lunch code for Medicaid reduced and Medicaid free to the POS?
You are going to need to code in your POS what it is, if it's Medicaid reduced, Medicaid free, SNAP, TANF, or foster. You probably already have a code that does your SNAP, TANF, and foster. You will need to add the Medicaid reduced and the Medicaid free because they are two different types of Medicaid free and reduced. I recommend you still try to get your vendor to put the two set letter acronym to use in your system.
The next question says, I'm unclear on why we would be adding students. What would this feature be used if we have imported from SIS and that is being uploaded in TMAC?
So so you do your enrollment file. That's a huge file at the beginning of the month or whatever. And then kids come in. I know at the start of the school year, kids are always coming in, trickling in or whatever. You could just take that list of newly enrolled kids and put those in there on any day. So you just add those students and you could get if they were matched or not immediately. So that's kind of one of the benefits of it. Another benefit might be, let's say that you're a really small district and you're having to do all this manually. You could put your add additional students in manually instead of having an enrollment plan.
And how often do they need to update the enrollment file?
Well, you need to do the match monthly. I would update it. I would update it often because you want to get as many direct cert matches as you can. So there's not a requirement per se that you update your enrollment, but from a district level perspective and getting all the matches you can, I would do it often. It's required that you do a match monthly though, per Medicaid application.
Is this, does this information also apply to charter schools?
Yes, it applies to all schools it applies to all schools that are operating the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program.
If our enrollment data does not include state student ID in a private school where they aren't used, do we just skip this field when uploading our data?
That's a catchy question,
No.
but I don't think you can. I think you're going to have to get a state student ID.
Yeah.
So,
You will need to put a value there. Yes.
Do we know what value they'll put if they don't have state student IDs?
So while you all are asking questions, let me hop over to the file format and I will check that, okay? And come right back.
Okay. We already have a system in place in our district that does all of this for us. Can we still download the full DC list from TMAC so that we can continue matching with our system?
no. Once this system, 6 months from now, the legacy system, the old way you did that will be gone. You can no longer use that process. The match will be done at the state level. You will not be able to download the file and match to your system. So no, once that legacy system goes away in about 6 months, the state match process is the process that will be used to do direct cert on all the means tested programs.
Can the student enrollment data not be pulled from EIS? The majority of the school districts across the state submit nightly extracts.
That's a local decision. Where you get that student enrollment file, as long as you have the required fields, is up to you. If you get it from your system or you get it from the SIS package, wherever you get that is up to you.
I think they mean the state pulling it from EIS instead of them having to
No,
upload it into TMAC.
no, the state does not have the information like addresses that is needed for doing these matches. So no, the state doesn't have that information. It'd be nice if we did. That would be very nice, but we don't have the information to be able to do that.
There is a request to type up the steps to follow along with the pictures so that they can see how things go.
Okay. This PowerPoint will be shared. Hopefully, I explained those steps as well. I will try to do a little better, maybe once we get this thing up and running, and provide you maybe a step 1, step 2, so on and so forth. We do have some SFAs. Thank you very much to those FFAs. Shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome that have been assisting us with trying to do some UAT testing with us. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in around the 20th or that week of the 20th. But once we do that and we have a little better idea about things, we will do our best to release something that has a step-by-step thing for you guys to follow. We have a manual that was produced by Link. I'm in the bowels of this process, and it was hard for me to understand. So we'll try to do a little better.
When will the direct cert list and lookup and upload be available in TMAC?
Are you talking about the new module?
I think so.
Okay, the new module will be available in TMAC. We plan to go live with this new module the 1st of August.
The second month you do this, will it give you the list from the previous month or just new students that did not match in the previous month?
It'll just give you and I think this is a Catherine question, but Catherine, please correct me if I'm wrong. It'll only give you new matches. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question, Randa? I was looking up those numbers. Okay.
So it says the second month you do this, will it give you the list from the previous month or just students that did not match the previous month? So essentially they're asking
The deltas. Yeah.
if they're just new matches that will be produced.
Right. I believe it's going to be based on what you upload. So you upload the file, your enrollment file, you're going to export then that same universe of data for those that matched. Any students that do not match will not be on the exported file that you export from TMAC. So the non-matches are not included, only the matches. So it's, yeah.
So if they
but
upload if they upload the whole
their additions and showing new matches.
So if they, in the second month, the first month they uploaded the entire universe of their district of students enrolled, okay? And then on the second month, they do the same thing again. They upload their entire universe of students enrolled in their district. They will get the same thing on the second round. They will get all the matches, even though they will be repeat. Am I correct, Catherine? But if they
Go ahead.
If they only, in their second month, if they only upload any newly enrolled kids, then they will only get those matches.
Right.
There's a request to show the last slide.
While Sandy's pulling that up, I'd like to share, when I looked at the file layout that we got from the vendor. So the student ID is required. If your district or school, you do not have a state student ID, which, That ain't your number there is required. Your student number is required. So in other words, you cannot leave it blank. And so we're gonna
So they,
take that first
go on.
question that we were gonna take back to the vendor, get that finalized, and then also make absolutely sure we understand about the export. Sandy and I are on the same page as that, but I just want to 100% make sure we're going to send you all some follow-up answers after the call.
So the state student
So,
ID is the gold standard for the unique student identifier.
Yeah.
That is the whole reason why we're moving away from social security numbers and other things that are personally identifiable. That state student ID, just like in PEBT, that particular number is the gold standard, and that's what we need.
so what then, so if a school is a private school and they don't use the state ID, do they just put their local number in there, or like what information needs to be in that file?
Well, they're going to need a state student ID. The question, I guess, would be, because they are a private school, and obviously from the question they don't have those numbers, would be how would they get a state student ID for private schools? And that's a question we may, Catherine, have to take back to VJ or someone.
My understanding was that everyone had a state student ID. But we will get that question answered.
Can you provide the office hour dates again?
Yeah. Let me see here. I think it was July 18th. Let me see.
It's the next 2 Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, and it's at 1 o'clock Central, from 1 to 3 Central Time. So on Tuesday, I think it begins on the 18th, Tuesday the 18th, the 20th, then the following Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, there's a question if the PowerPoint will be sent out. Yes, the PowerPoint will be sent out. I think we'll wait and send it out when we have the recording available. So it won't be immediate, but it will be very soon. The recording and the PowerPoint, I think, are going to go out together. So this person says we start school and feeding on August 4th. Should we use the legacy system in the meantime?
Yes, I would continue to use the legacy system until you're 100% comfortable with using the new system. It will be there for you. But as soon as you get that enrollment file, and you can do both. So once we go live, you can use the legacy and you can use the new system, the state match system. So that's your decision which one you use, but always keep in the back of your mind that 6 months, the legacy's gone.
Did Power School reach out to you when they were contacted?
No. I don't think so. I'd have to go back and refresh my mind. I have a few of them that are top of my mind, but I'm 95% sure no.
After we match through TMAC and export the student list, are we supposed to go back into our POS to mark students as DC? Currently, when I run the list through Mosaic, they are automatically marked.
I'm not sure I understand the question. So you will get the list, export list. The list will have the eligibility type on it that you're downloading to import into your system. So when you import into your system, it should pull out that eligibility acronym that shows how the match, what it matched as. So
Yes, that is the benefit of the export and then turning around and importing it into your local system.
For those who live close to Kentucky, will the state also match with Kentucky?
okay, Kentucky. So Kentucky is a place where we're having a little bit of an issue. So Kentucky will not be included in this process to begin with. But once they have their file ready to be input into our system, then they will be included. So to begin with, they will not be part of the new matching system. Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong. They will continue to be on the legacy though.
Yes,
For 6
yes,
months.
you can continue to get your Kentucky data from the legacy. And then
But
we'll
we do
notify
plan to include
everyone
it.
when
Yeah,
they, yes,
yeah.
we will communicate out whenever Kentucky is part of the new DC data universe. Yes.
Have you talked to Primero about using the old setup, then changing over to the new process? Primero will not start the new upload until we have an actual file, not just the layout.
So we don't give you the actual enrollment file. So are you talking about the export file? I'm not sure. I haven't spoken with Primero Edge about any specifics such as what you described there, but Primero Edge has indicated that it will not be a problem for them to do this. So I I don't really understand what exactly you're needing to know there.
Will we be able to upload a file automatically every evening using SFTP and get the results file back the same way?
Catherine, I believe that's a you question.
Will you be able to upload what to an SFTP?
It says, will we be able to upload a file automatically every evening? I'm assuming that's an enrollment file using SFTP and get the result file back the same way.
No, all right, so that's a good question. You upload your enrollment file through the TMAC user interface. You do not put your enrollment file out on any SFTP server.
Are Horizon and OneSource set up for the new matching setup?
I do not know. That's a question that would have to go to Horizon. And I think you said, who did else? Did you say Verizon?
Horizon and OneSource.
Horizon and OneSource. I'm not sure about those. I communicated with everyone, but what they're set up for is not something that I'm privy to. So I do not know.
Regarding the monthly match, is there a specific date recommended? Like now we match after the 10th of every month for the previous month's data.
That's a good question, Catherine. I don't believe there is. I believe that this is first of the month, but you can answer that
This
better
is
than I can.
okay, so the state agencies that we partner with, they have until the 8th to get us their data. That data is uploaded. There's going to be a job that runs to upload those files. So you should be able to upload your export data, around the 10th. Everything will be populated into that. But the state agencies have until the 8th to give us their data each month.
Do we need to put in every student, even if we know they are not going to qualify, or is this just for students who are questionable?
No, I would put every student enrolled in your district.
Can we still pull the May, June, and July from the old file?
Yes, correct, Catherine?
Yes, and the July has not been uploaded yet because we are working with our state partners so that when we go live, we can have those in sync. So the July data will be available soon. This is the first, basically the month that we've not put that out there because that data will be synced with the new DCMB, the new module. But you can continue to pull your data before you start school. I would use the July file. The July file is the full file. Being that the program year begins in July 1, we are transitioning, and Sandy knows a lot more about this, but we are transitioning to 7/1 is when you would pull your yearly file.
Yes, correct. In years past, forever, for as long as I've known, we use what we call the May big list to start school with. Per USDA, that is not allowable. You cannot qualify a student for free and reduced lunch based on a previous year eligibility status. So meaning that if a kid was on the list in May, they don't qualify for the next school year's benefit eligibility. So beginning, what you've done now is fine. So we're not changing this right now. But once next school year, the 24-25 year rolls around, you will not be able to use the May list as your big list. You will have to use the July 1 list to qualify your students for eligibility. And as we go forward, guys, we'll delve into this more with you, but just for your awareness.
What about existing students that become DC during the middle of the school year but are not a new student?
Well, if you continue to enroll them and or add them or have them on, if you submit your entire enrollment every month and they come on in January, then they weren't on there in July, it will match them. If you don't submit that kid, and correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine, you will not get a match if you don't submit that kid in January that is newly eligible.
Right. As long as it's in your enrollment file, when that child becomes eligible, when your enrollment file adjudicates against the repository of, in TMAG for the eligible kids, that's
So
when
really
you
for
will
their
see that.
subsequent monthly uploads, they should do their entire enrollment that hasn't been matched and not just newly enrolled students.
They can. I mean, I personally, at the district level, I would. I mean, I already have that file. I would. I don't know if it's necessary or required that you do that, but that would be a district level decision. Am I correct, Catherine?
Yes.
Well, it
Yes.
sounds like they're not going to get those mid-year matches if they don't upload those every month as well.
Right. If it was me, I would upload my entire enrollment file. And you can still do a search. If you get a new student mid-month, you can still go out there and do a search for that student if you don't want to enroll, if you're not checking for the entire enrollment. So there are options out there for that scenario to find that student to determine if they're eligible once they became enrolled with you.
And this question is very similar, so I think we possibly addressed it with this conversation, but I still want to address it. It says, how do we gain eligibility change from month to month on kids that were enrolled at the start of the year?
And that would be by uploading your enrollment, entire enrollment monthly, right, Catherine?
Yeah, because you're
Sandy, could you repeat that? You were a little muffled.
You would upload your entire enrollment monthly or whenever as you go along. But you could also add individual students along, like Catherine said previously. If you get new kids in and you want to check, in the moment, in that day, like today I got 10 new kids, I'm going to put them on here and see if they're a match. You can match them that way as well. But I recommend that you do your entire enrollment, at least at a minimum monthly, to see your matches. The goal here is to get as many matches that you can verify and good matches as possible.
Once the child is eligible at the beginning of the year, are they, this is,
They're eligible for the entire year.
yeah,
Once
that's
they've
why,
been, yeah.
yeah. So I'm not sure that you would care that program year that they dropped off because they established their eligibility at the beginning of the year.
I think that question is in reference to students that would gain eligibility. So
Okay.
they weren't eligible at the beginning of the year,
Okay.
but then they would have been a mid-year match. So it's similar to that previous question of, do they need to continue uploading the entire enrollment, not just new students, to ensure that any of those kids
Right.
who haven't matched would match.
I gotcha. Yeah. Right. If you
To my
have,
knowledge, you will not break the TMAC, the system in TMAC, if you upload the entire student enrollment. So I would recommend you do that to make sure that you're, capturing, because there might be kids that come on and receive Medicaid or SNAP benefits mid-year that you didn't get previously. And if you don't upload their enrollment in that mid-year enrollment file, you wouldn't capture it. So
that's right.
What happens if a student is matched initially but moves out of district? Will it unmatch them and thus change their eligibility upon import into the local POS?
Okay. I think when a kid gets unenrolled in your system, then your point of sales would have that kid as unenrolled. So this is something that happens in your SIS. When they unenroll in yours, if we've matched them, you have that information. But once they unenroll in your system and enroll in another district, that new district that they enrolled in would include that child, in their new enrollment file or their enrollment file, and then that kid would be matched to that system. But unenrolling them would be a local level thing that you guys would do. I'm sure you probably have a process in place where you probably already do that. I'm not sure, but anyway, some of you do, I know.
Can you clarify when the change in the big list is from May to July? What school year is that effective?
That it will be effective school year 24-25.
Thank you. What format will the date field be in that they receive?
Your export file will be in Excel format, correct, Catherine?
Yes, XLSX will be your extension. To what we were told.
And what they asked about the specific date field within that file.
Okay. That is YYYY MMDD.
So year, month, date, 4 digits, and then 2 and 2 digits.
Yes.
Would you list the codes again that are possible for matches?
Okay. SN for SNAP, TO for TANF, FO for foster, MR for Medicaid reduced, and MF for Medicaid free.
Can you do a brief review on the purpose of switching over to this system and why we're not just switching social security numbers to state IDs and continuing with the legacy system?
Well, we've had many requests from many SFAs wanting to go to a state match process. We included it in our link contract, or we included in our RFP for this to become a process that we do. And It came in our contract that we have with Link, so we have the contract to do it now. And at the end of the day, the goal is to get more matches for our districts out there to use to qualify these kids for free meals. And the Medicaid demonstration project kind of required it.
Yeah, and I'll go a step farther there. The previous commissioner, it was a priority of hers. So obviously, depending on the commissioner and their priorities, become the team's priorities.
Will a notification be sent out when the July file is ready in the legacy system?
Yes, yes. I have a correction. I have a correction I need to make to an earlier answer. I was not sure when I said that date format, if you were speaking of your imported enrollment file or which file. So could you clarify the file you were asking about the date format, please?
And there's also another question to verify. So if there's multiple date formats, maybe we should just say specifically which each one is, but I'll wait for the kind of the follow-up to come out of that. Okay. Back to what enrollment you're uploading every month. There was a question/comment that said, wouldn't you want to do every student every month? So in case a student changes from foster or TANF to SNAP, and I'm assuming also from Medicaid free, reduced to a free status. So should they actually be uploading every student every month, even if they haven't been matched?
I would recommend that. So yes, I would recommend that. And also, guys, you need to make sure you understand the hierarchy of these benefits. Now, TMAC will automatically put the eligibility type hierarchy in there for you. But if you get a student that is eligible per Medicaid reduced, you do, and they are getting a free meal per application, you do not remove them from their application free status and put them on Medicaid reduced. That's just one of the nuances that you guys need to be aware of.
And then also with uploading every student every month, there was a comment that would also catch updates and address changes. On the enrollment file layout, one of the items is local student identifier, and the description is locally assigned unique 12-digit alphanumeric identifier for each student in the division. What exactly is this?
That is the state student ID, okay? And the 12-digit thing is a, and Catherine, you can probably use the actual terms for these better than I can. That is the length of that data field. So you would, and I don't believe there's any alphabetic part of this. It's all numeric. So Catherine, you might be able to add to that, but that is the state student ID. It's not a local level ID.
There was another file sent out that clarified that is not the, that it's the state student ID, but there is 12, that length there, it's defined in that file layout, how long that value needs to be, or what's available there for that value. So that number there is just to show an example if you've received an example file there. You would just put what your number is in.
You would just have the 9-digit number. I believe a 9-digit number is what the state student ID contains. Yes. So you would just put that 9-digit number in that 12-digit spot. And it's the state student ID. It is not local.
Will CEP numbers for next school year still be based on the current school year? And if so, are CEP schools required to match monthly?
Because of the Medicaid demonstration project and because we were approved to participate, all SFAs will be required to do a monthly match.
I was told there's a possibility that if we uploaded legacy information, it could create issues rolling to the new file setup to connect students. If we are not receiving this new setup until August 1, we will not have connected kids until Primero can create the new import. And then also to please repeat the information on the May DC list.
Okay, I can repeat the information on the May DC list. I don't quite know how to respond to the other one. So currently districts, and for I guess since the onset of DC matching back in 2010, districts have been using the May list. We call that the big list. And that is the list that districts have been using to start their school year. Per USDA, we have been told that this is not allowable and that starting 24-25 school year, all schools will have to start their school year with kids that were eligible during July. So if they're eligible in May, you cannot use that May list to qualify them for the next school year. And this will start school year 24-25.
Will you be continuing to reach out to vendors that did not reply?
I can try one more time to send another email. I don't know how much of a response I will get, but I do highly recommend. These people are paid. You pay them. I would be reaching out to them and saying, hey, I need this as well, but we will continue to reach out at the state as well.
I'll address this one as well too. So we're dealing with somewhere around 20 vendors here. And I thought that it would be pretty easy to figure out a point of contact with each one of these vendors. And I started looking online. I'm sure if you've ever tried to do that, you experience the same thing. Any vendor that I've utilized in the past, I have a point of contact. And it seems like that a lot of these, for some strange reason, don't have a point of contact. So we exhausted every resource that we have around those 20 vendors, trying to contact them, including but not limited to going to conferences and going to booths and talking to them. I'm kind of like Sandy at this point. I think the folks who are paying them for the services that they provide ultimately hold the cards here. So I would be surprised if you folks on this call today did not have a person that you could contact as the point of contact for your endeavors with that vendor. However you contact them, whether it's through the ticket platform like Sandy mentioned before, or if you have a standalone contact that works for Primero Edge or Link or Power School or any of the vendors that we've talked about here today, and a lot that we haven't, I think at this point, that email that we sent on the listserv that has the file layout, it is imperative that you at this point make contact with your vendor and share that file and have them make the adjustments. The State Department contacting a vendor that they do not do business with and asking them to do this is at this point not the person that needs to do it. It needs to be the one that is paying their salary and the one that holds the cards as far as communicating with them. So I can't express to you enough that at this point, you need to make contact with them because we've tried everything that we can. Some of them we had a success there and they know what they're doing and they've done it for other states that have already gone through the Medicaid demonstration project. We've also got some really small mom and pops around here that aren't as big as Link or Primero Edge. Those are the ones that I'm worried about. I'm not worried about Link because they work in multiple states and have done Medicaid demo for multiple states, and those adjustments are easily made. The ones that I'm more worried about are the ones that we can't get in contact with, who will not respond to us, and don't have the staffs, the developers that are needed to make the adjustments on that file layout. So once again, after this call tomorrow, first of next week, I would think it would be incumbent upon you to reach out to your vendor and share that file layout and get that ball rolling.
Can the state provide an export template for us to use to upload the enrollment information in TMAC, similar to the ones provided for PEBT uploads?
I believe we already shared that, didn't we, Catherine, the export file layout that would be, and then we also shared an example of what that export file would look like. So that's already been shared.
Yes, and I just put in the chat the date formats you all had asked about, because I wasn't sure which file you were talking about. So I specified in the chat if you want to refer to that. I've listed the date, your DOB date format from your enrollment file. And then I've also listed the date formats from your export file that you'll get out of TMAC. And there's several dates there. I'm giving you that. I'm just about to also take this export file layout and upload it here in this chat so that everyone will have this, have it. If there's 2 tabs in this file, the first tab is the file layout. The second tab is an example row that can show you sample data of what it should look like on your file when it comes out of TMAC and the matches, are there. So I'm about to save this and upload it here for you.
And we can also include that in the follow-up email. There's also a request to send the codes and the hierarchy. And so if we could get that, Sandy, to put in the follow-up, I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, the codes have already been shared on that file layout as well, and you may want to add those with the scenarios and the codes on it, Catherine, in there as well. The hierarchy.
It's not letting me upload a file to this chat,
okay.
Randa. Not sure why.
Okay, well, Bill said he's going to resend it on the listserv, and then we can also send it in the follow-up.
Yeah, that listserv has those codes as well.
And then if we could get that listed out to put in the follow-up email, as well as the hierarchy that they have asked for. And then there's a couple of comments. I was going to try to wrap this up by 2:30, but we are quickly approaching that. So there was one comment that said the state ID is 7 digits with no alpha, and that they would need a corrected file layout since the one sent on July 6th asked for a 12-digit alphanumeric, but it wants the 7-digit state ID. So I think we might need some clarification around that.
Okay,
or do they need to add leading zeros?
No. Am I right, Catherine? They will not add leading zeros. If it's a 7-digit number, there are 12 spaces there. In those 12 spaces that are provided for that spot, and you cannot, they have to be exact, right, Catherine? In that file layout, you would put those 7-digit numbers. You don't add leading zeros or anything like that.
Right. You're going to include the length of what your ID, your state ID is, and in your local system.
So even though the
you don't need to fill it with zeros to make it a certain column width. You just need to insert what your student ID is. Period. So if you do not have a student ID, I was told that all schools have a student ID. But if you do not have one, it is required. You have to put your student's ID there. It's going to kick if you don't have it. It won't take a blank.
And so even though the file specifies a 12-digit number, it will still work with uploading a 7-digit.
Yes, you just put in your digits and then, we'll get with you, work with you on uploading your file through a UAT, an offsite system. If you need some help, we'll schedule a time with you to test that upload so that your first time is not, in production. We're here to give you that confidence level. So we're available for that, and also during office hours if there's any other questions. But once we get ready to, you get your file ready, contact me and Sandy. We'll sit with you and we'll upload your file into a non-prod sandbox site. So, don't feel like you're gonna tear up something or that you're gonna, not have any support on this side. So we'll work with you to give you that confidence level.
Catherine, address that last chat too, left to right, right to left.
Are you speaking of the import file, the enrollment file? Are you speaking on this last question? Are you speaking of the export?
The number that she's got to put.
Oh, okay. I got you.
The student ID number.
Sure. Hang on. Let me look that up.
I can already tell you, if it's 1 million and that's 7 digits, then you would that first one would be in the 7th space, going from right to left. So you wouldn't start over at the far left side. You start where that number starts, and if it's 1 million, it's in the 7th digit, and it's 000 000 after that.
Mm-hmm.
You would never start on the far left and put a number in there, and then have blanks at the end.
And there's also a request to get a template. So the exact comment says, "I would like a template if at all possible. I understand we've received a layout, but a template with the needed widths and other requirements already formatted would be ideal."
Okay, so the widths, that is in the layout that we sent for the export file. If you're speaking of the imported file, I just need to know which one you're referring to.
We'll wait for a possible response from that. And then someone said, "I received verification that our private school system does not use the state student IDs. You may say it's required. Required by whom is what our principal just asked. I think I need someone to reach out to me about this to know how to proceed with the data upload."
Hey, we'll work on that one. We realize that private schools don't have state student ID numbers. We'll get you a solution on that.
And that one specific person who is commenting that, if you want us to reach out specifically to you as well, can you please put your name in the chat, because you're showing up as unknown user to me. And then back to the template, if possible, for the file that is being submitted. And
Okay.
we are officially
okay, and that's
gonna on questions.
Okay. Okay, and that is you're gonna put in the zeros there. I'm still looking for that layout. What I was going to share was because we continue to talk about the student ID. We do have the logic and what the data is matched upon. And right now in TMAC, what the columns used for matching is date of birth, last name, first name, zip, sex, the gender, and middle initial. So these are the columns where they get their percentage matching from.
All right, we are currently caught up on questions. So I'll say thank you everyone for joining today and being here. I really appreciate everyone's time. And like Sandy said, there will be office hours on Tuesday and Thursday for the next 2 weeks. And we can try to get that sent out maybe before the recap, because I think the office hours will happen prior to that recap going out. There is a request to repeat the hierarchy one more time, and we will also work to get that in the follow-up. But Sandy, can you go over that hierarchy again before we officially close it out?
Okay, so if a child is verified as eligible for SNAP, SNAP is the highest level on the hierarchy. So if the kid is eligible for SNAP, that's the highest level. If the kid shows up as eligible for SNAP and TANF, SNAP is your hierarchy. So SNAP is the one that they would be eligible. That would be their eligibility type. If the hierarchy goes SNAP, TANF, foster, Medicaid free, and Medicaid reduced in that order. Did I leave out foster?
Nope.
Anyway. All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bill or Sandy, do you have any last minute thoughts before we, and what about applications in the hierarchy?
Applications is not part of this. If a kid is qualified as free and reduced per application, just like any time that they are SNAP or TANF or foster or Medicaid free, then you do that eligibility type, because they're directly cert, and those direct cert numbers will have your CEP and ISP and so on and so forth. If they're Medicaid reduced, then, and you have an application that they're free, the Medicaid reduced does not replace that free application. That kid continues to remain free per application.
Okay, so we appreciate your time, number one. We appreciate your patience, number two. We've got 4 office hour opportunities here coming up over the next 2 weeks. So we'll appreciate your engagement there. Thank you for the questions. They have helped us process this new program better for you. We'll get all those follow-up items that you've requested. I'll send out another listserv announcement. We'll get this PowerPoint out to you. Take a big old deep breath, just like we have over the past 3 or 4 months while we've been trying to figure this out as well. This does not have to come off without a hitch tomorrow or next month. We have time to get this and get it right. It will impact the 24-25 school year, not the 23-24 school year. So we've got time to get this right, and we'll have the ability to do that. Again, thank you for joining today, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
everybody.